Deontay Wilder says if he fights Joshua, he wants it to be an equal pay, 50-50.
That's not happening.
It's not happening because Joshua
just has too much power. He's the big draw. It's tough because with Hearns, who's Joshua's promoter, they're just not going to bend down to that.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, Joshua Parker's no Deontay Wilder as far as fame and his
Who wins that fight?
Well, you mean
It's a great fight.
Wait, Deontay Wilder's no Anthony
No,
Joshua.
Joshua Parker. So follow here. Joshua Parker's the guy from New Zealand who's a world champion boxer. He's supposed to fight Anthony Joshua next.
Okay.
So it's Joshua Parker and Anthony Joshua's the Britain champion,
gotcha,
right?
yeah.
So Joshua Parker wanted 50-50, and they're not. They're like, no, it's not fucking happening. So he had to back down. He goes, all right, we'll figure it out. Because Joshua's he's the biggest name in boxing now, so besides Canelo, so he's calling the shots.
Well, do you think he would sell out in America if he came and fought here? I feel like he's big over the pond, and Wilder's big over here, and they fight somewhere in the middle, like Antarctica or some shit like that.
Deontay Wilder
both bring their people.
The problem is Deontay Wilder's going to have to go to Wembley Stadium. He's going to have to fight him in the UK, and then they'll do it here.
Now, which are they both great? They're obviously champions. But their style, are they great boxers or are they just big dudes who could throw?
Great boxers.
They're great boxers.
The world's filled of big dudes who can throw. These two,
Anthony Joshua beat.
I watched it. It was one of the most spectacular.
It's my favorite heavyweight fight of all time. But both medalists in the Olympics as well.
Yeah. Let me ask you, this guy that just knocked out over him, his manager's like, in a couple years, I'd like to see him fight these guys.
He's fucking crazy. These guys would.
I do think it's crazy, but if you actually did a no rules, who would win that fight?
Francis would walk through him. Like he can do anything, take down.
Yeah, I mean, like
he'd beat him in
that's
like
what
a minute.
I can't stand about this argument. It's like it
doesn't make sense though. It's like saying, how would Tom Brady do if you put him on the ice? It's like, well, I don't fucking know.
I mean, they're both. I don't think it's that different because
it is though. It's like I don't. Who gives a fuck?
No, it's such a different sport.
Right, it is a different
How would the water
sport,
polo guys do in regular polo?
It is striking. It is striking. And what you see is that, you see these boxers calling up these UFC fighters like they're badass.
They want notoriety and fame because
no,
the
I
UFC,
get that.
That's
and
why
it
they're
kind of
doing
goes back to our media thing. It's all about clicks and all that shit. But
that's a problem in our sport too.
This is about like if there were rules to this.
Those are the two highest level heavyweight boxers in the world right now. They should 100% fight. They will fight. It's just figuring out that deal.
How tall is Wilder than you? You've spent time with him.
He's 6'6". Joshua's 6'5".
Okay.
They're both complete monsters.
Giant man.
That's a great fight.
6'7". Jesus.
Listed at 6'7".
And as good, he might be 6'7".
Look at that. See that?
I know. As much as Francis Ngannou, everyone's high and mighty on. No, he wouldn't even be a middle tier professional boxer. Guys don't realize the difference between.
He's a monster though at the UFC. Though.
Look at Anthony Joshua,
that guy.
Monster.
Oh, man, that hit on Overeem.
He's just astonishing.
Like just put Francis in the Olympic trials and he wouldn't make it out of it. Let alone compete with these professionals.
It's
just different, man.
Yeah,
I know it's I get.
I hear you. I get the argument all the time.
It's like, I was like, well, dude, that's with rules to this shit.
Yeah.
If it was a straight up, just fight, anything goes, I think he'd walk through them.
Yeah,
I know. You see people calling out Conor all the time, like Garcia. I'll fuck you. I'll knock him out. And I'm like, in the boxing ring, you would. I mean, it's like real shit talking, but there's got to be some rules for your advantage.
And that's what Conor said, in that. He's like, if this was a real fight, I would bash your skull in. No problem. It would last 15 seconds. What else you got,
That
Jim?
last fucking fight was amazing.
Which one?
That card was great.
218 or 217?
218.
Amazing card. Low numbers. Lowest numbers ever for prelims.
What?
Yeah.
Well, also what's going on was that day, huge college football games. Like all the conferences,
all
title
the conference
fight,
championships.
the championships. So, I mean, I was going back and forth.
And Cotto. People for Cotto he was free on HBO. They pulled 900-something thousand, so that hurts it a little bit.
And it's
but I think it's also, and they've competed. This is what the UFC does. They compete with the biggest of the bigs, and they've always done well. This has been our lowest year ever. I think it's on the promotional, the work. They're just not doing the work.
Well, I think that's a lot of stuff. It's like, comedy clubs do that a lot too. It's like, you guys sell out, but sometimes I'll go to clubs and they don't do any promotion.
Zero, yeah.
Yeah, and then they're like, well,
look at the difference between the Laugh Factory and the Comedy Store. The Comedy Store's social media is a beast.
I tell everybody,
they post
dude, you
great
got
pictures
to attack.
that you have to attack. Then you look at the other places that aren't doing well. I'm like, take notes from the Comedy Store.
The Improv puts out the shows like 3 hours before the shows.
That it doesn't. It can't. That
you got
there's too much. There's too many options for you to post something 3 hours before and think people.
That's why I don't know why UFC doesn't go heavy during the summer. That's when you should go heavy because you're up against baseball.
Well, they have their big card in July 4th, but then
boom,
they have
boom, and then lighter during the winter because all the big sports are going.
Well, what I think they're going to do with their business model is they're going to have to fold a lot of the pay-per-views, and you're going to get 6 major pay-per-views a year, and then you get good cards on regular TV.
And here's the truth, man. And it's like when people start seeing that the employees aren't being treated well, there is a reaction to that. And
except with Apple phones, but yeah, carry on.
No, I get you to that too, and that's a whole nother story.
Okay.
But in terms of like within the United States, like Walmart took a little hit because people are like they're not paying people, so they're like, hey, I'm not gonna go there, and they saw it happen, so they did this campaign that they're putting out. I think you see with the NFL with these concussions and how they treat these guys, you see it start to wane a little bit. UFC, I think they really need to go. They need to see the money increase for these fighters. So that better athletes start coming to it, and then people will get, I think, behind it more. When you hear these guys aren't making money, or they're, you see boxers that you haven't heard of making a couple mil a fight, and I know the model is different, and you hear these guys, like when someone saw the Anderson Silva in a fight he made from a Reebok got $5,000 sponsorship money.
So fucking terrible,
dude. People are like, fuck that.